EM is for italic. And then, let's see, actually strong, I can't believe I did this. Strong is what we're going to use for bold. We used to use B, and we used to use I, and we used to use U for underline, but now we use strong for bold, and we use EM for italics. And we started doing this when we started getting into mobile devices, and devices that might not actually have the capability of rendering bold or italics. And so we needed some other way to let the user know, or maybe it's a screen reader, that you should display it in whatever way you can. So, but for the most part, strong is always bold. EM is always italic. That's about all you need to know. So we've covered bold and italic. Now let's get into a critical tag, the A tag. That makes a hyperlink to another web page when you click on it. So we're going to make A, google.com, and guess what? It doesn't go anywhere. That's because it doesn't know where to go. One thing that some tags need is what's called attributes. We've defined an A tag, but this A tag doesn't know enough about itself to know where to go. We know what's inside of it, google.com text, but we need to know where to go, so we're going to add an href attribute. You add an attribute by doing equals and then a pair of quotes. And whatever's inside of the quotes is setting the href. So google.com. There you go. And look, magically now I'm underlined and I have that purple color because I've been to google.com before. And look, I can now go back and forth from google.com to my web page. All like that. You're now a web developer. It's tremendous. So let's do another tag, an img for image. And this one needs to know what the source of the image is. I'll leave that blank for now. And that's all an image tag is. For the source, I'm going to go look something up on Google. And let's just look up an image of Simon Cowell. Sure, everybody loves Simon, right? Why not? Let's view image. I'm going to copy the URL. Why won't you let me close? I don't know. Okay. My computer's acting strange. Hit save, and look, there we go. Google.com link, and a nice link to Simon Cowell's website. Let's see if I can close this. There we go. So basically, that's your core tags. Another thing you'll probably notice is these are not coming onto new lines like we've typed them out. At first, that doesn't make sense, and it seems very bad. But later on, you'll realize it's very, very good. How HTML works is it does not recognize anything except for how you program it to go. So unless you say it with tags, it doesn't know what to do. And that's because these things can get huge, or sometimes they'll get word wrapping like this, and it just doesn't know what to do, so it's not going to make any guesses for you. If you don't say line break, which is a BR tag, it doesn't line break. So there we go. I added a BR tag, and now it's bold. Whoops, I want to add another line break because right now Simon Cowell's on the same line as all other friends. So I'm going to BR. There you go. So now we got, this is bold, line break, this is italic, google.com, line break, and an image. And that's kind of how you start structuring your web page. And you're probably thinking, this is ugly. This doesn't feel like building a web page. But this is about as complicated as HTML gets. For real, I'm not making it up. HTML is not much more complicated than this. You just have to remember a few tags, a few attributes like href and source, and that's about it. I can show you a few more tags here. UL is something you'll use a lot. That stands for unordered list. And inside this, you'll add LIs. So here I've added an LI, which stands for line item, item 1, item 2. And now you'll see we've got our, you know what, I'm going to get rid of Mr. Simon. Nobody likes to see him for very long anyway. Okay, there we go. So now we've got an unordered list, which by default is just going to display with bullet points. Item 1, item 2. You can style these a lot of different ways, so you're going to use the UL a lot. Anytime you have a list of items, you're going to use a UL with LIs inside of it. A drop-down navigation is a list of items. You'll use ULLI. An actual navigation is a list of items. You'll use ULLI. A list of MP3s in a fake MP3 player online. ULs with LIs. Another thing very similar is OLs, and that is ordered list, and that actually by default is going to spit out numbers for each item. You don't really use this one very often, but it's helpful to know that it exists. We're almost out of tags, honestly, folks. There's div tags, which you use a lot, but we're not going to show you. That's basically for styling, so we're going to leave it untouched right now. Span tags, you'll also use a decent bit, but once again, that is for styling. So that is about as complicated as HTML gets. All you have to do is get comfortable typing in tags, and you're pretty much an HTML developer. Paragraph tags, those are important, and header tags, and then we'll be done. P is for paragraph. That's another way to kind of separate text. Let's say we added this 4 times. It's starting to get all messy. And I forgot to close these. P and each P and a slash P. There we go. So inside of this paragraph, we have this. I don't know what that did right there. Inside of this paragraph, we have a block of text for each one. And you'll see the paragraph automatically kind of created its own space on either side. Paragraphs are usually the way you're going to want to add fresh line breaks. Usually you don't want to use the BR tag like we're using there. But it has its purposes as well. BR creates a line break, as you can see here, and P creates a fresh paragraph with space on either side. The only other tags you're going to use are header tags. They start with H. Depending on how big you want the header to be, you'll use H1 for the biggest. H2 is smaller than that. And H3 and so on down to about H6 or so. It's pretty rare to have headers be in 6 different sizes. You're probably pretty bad at design if you're doing that. And when it refreshes, there you go, big, not so big, not really big, and then we're down to our normal text. So that is HTML design. So our next thing, we're going to cover style, so you can actually not feel like a fake developer. You get to feel like a real developer in the next one as we start to style our things. CSS gets a little more complicated, so I'd encourage you, take a little time, make some links, make some different web pages, and just have fun with HTML for a little while before you move forward. In our next one, we're going to do a little bit more advanced HTML.